has been shocking changes to international student study permits in Canada. If you're an aspiring student that's in Canada, you need to hear this. So you guys, Mark Miller, that's the immigration minister, his latest move passed on January 22nd, 2024 is shaking up the game for international students. Things are changing up and down, and we are here for this. So we are here to see how this unfolds. So if you are watching this video and you came here to get more information on what the Canadian immigration minister is doing as concerns international students, please stay tuned as I uncover and or as we unpack everything that was discussed in this news that was sent out on this date, January 22nd, 2024. I am filming this video today, that's the 30th of January, and there's still more things that were said today. So every day is a new thing, it's a new thing from one to another. So stay tuned as I uncover the impact of this news and what this means for your Canadian dream, for those of you who want to come to Canada as students. So if this is your first time here, my name is Raisa. Hi, you're welcome to this channel, and here we talk about everything international students in Canada, and I do vlogs as well and things on motherhood, just a little bit here and there. So that's it. Let's jump right into this video. So we're going to be talking about what the immigration minister said. I'm going to summarize everything that he said, and there are 4 points. So he put a limit on the number of international student study permits that are going to be issued in the year 2024, and this number resulted to 364,000 study permits, which is a decrease by 35% compared to last year. Second point is that there will be no postgraduate work permit for public-private institutions. And the third point is that there will be a 3-year work permit for master's and doctorate students. That was what was there before. It didn't really change. And there will be no spousal open work permit for students who are in college, undergraduate level, bachelor's degree level. Nothing for them. No spousal open work permit. So if you're married, you're looking at programs that are master's or graduate level programs. If you're undergrad, unfortunately your spouse will not be able to get a work permit. They'll just probably come and sit here with you in your house as a visitor, and that's it for them. Okay, so let's go through these points and just debunk them to the best of my own knowledge and what I understood from it. Let's go. Permit me, I'm just going to hold this mic like this. Okay, they have decided to curb and to maintain the massive growth of immigrants in Canada, and it's quite unfortunate that they have started this with temporary residents, and international students are the first to witness this happen. Okay, so they have decided to start with us, the international students. So what they did is that they have put a 2-year cap on international study permits. So there's going to be, for 2 years, they're going to limit the number of international students that are coming to Canada. How is this going to be done? Let's move on. The first point is to cap the number of students, and then the second thing, how they're going to do it is they have decided to limit the number. They put a number on it to 360,000 study permits that's going to be issued in this year 2024, which is a decrease by 35% compared to last year. So last year they had more than that, so they decided to cut it down by 35%. Okay, because you guys have been hearing come to Canada. Now there's no more going to be come to Canada. I know I've been an advocate for international students come to Canada, international students, but at this point things are getting harder and harder for students. Now it's favoring more of workers and skilled workers and all of that, but international students is getting really hard. Okay, let's continue. They said they will approve 364,000 study permits in this year 2024. Since they started in January, by the time the news was sent out, they probably approved like 4,000, so they have 360,000 to go. So the third thing is the cap will be allocated by province, and this is going to be based on the population of every province. There are 10 provinces in Canada, so definitely some provinces are going to see more reduction than others. The ones that are more populated might get fewer people in their provinces. So what you have to know is that if you're already in Canada, those of you in Canada will not be affected by these changes because you're already here, so that doesn't apply to you. Please note that. But those who are aspiring or are yet to get their visas, these changes are taking place effective immediately. So as they announced it on January 22nd, by 23rd, if you have any application that was submitted on the 23rd of January, then this is going to affect you. Okay, regardless of whether they have started taking it or not, because definitely at the time that they passed it on, provinces are not made room or made things available, arrangements for these processes to start taking place. Okay, they still have to go through paperwork and everything. No, so now that he said that, provinces are going to allocate these things, and we know that there are 10 provinces in Canada. So every province is going to have their own share of the 360,000 study permits that's going to be allocated to every province. That, what does that tell you? That tells you that the chances are slim, very, very small. Do you understand? Because they'll share it, but it's not going to be equal just because of the population and how they want to balance it out. And we know that provinces like Ontario has a huge population, so the drill is they have to start with provinces like that, because if the goal is to reduce the number of people, number of students that are coming in, most students go to provinces like Ontario and BC. Most students go to those places, so they should start reducing from there. That's what I am thinking. However, provinces like Ontario have more schools compared to places like Saskatchewan that might have one university or two and a polytechnic, just very few schools like that. So Ontario will probably face more reduction, but think about it, they have more schools, so it means that their own chances are still even going to be more little, because if there's 20 schools in Ontario, think about if they have to share all these quotas, all these study permits to 20 schools, they'll probably be giving 5 spots for each. Do you understand? So it makes you be like, you even want to not apply, because you're like, what are the chances? Especially if you don't have good grades, you are going to be very, very, very tight. And this is just me thinking out aloud based on what this minister brought out, or based on the information that he put out there concerning how this process is going to work, how they're going to handle the reduction of study permits that are issued in the year 2024. So he went on to also say that provinces are also responsible for how the cap is to be distributed to all the colleges and universities, and we're talking about designated learning institutions. Remember, if you're on this channel, I've always been stressing about designated learning institutions, because that's where we international students are able to get postgraduate work permit after we are done school. So he's saying that the provinces are going to be responsible for the distribution of these study permits, right, among schools. So this means that every province has its own leader, or how do they call it, premier. So they have their own premiers that are going to sit down with their team, and they'll come up with the number of quotas that they will need for every of their school. Do you understand? So he also said in this message that applicants are going to have to provide an attestation letter effective immediately, and from their school, from the university that they applied to, and submit this with their study permit application. So if you've applied, you would have to get an attestation letter from your school and then submit it with your study permit. If your application doesn't have an attestation letter, it is going to be returned to you. It was stated clearly in the official letter, in the official notice. It was stated clearly that if you don't have it, they'll return your application to you. Obviously, we know that at the time that this news was released, provinces did not have any attestation letter out yet, because they just brought it out, except that they knew about it behind the scenes before they told us, before they came out with the news. But as I speak now, definitely I think they are working on it, because he put out a tweet as well. Mark Miller put out a tweet. I'm going to read the tweet that he wrote verbatim. So he said that the current intake of study permit application will be paused until March 31st as provinces implement their systems. So these people are not joking, no guys. They are not even joking. Like, they are here for it. They are here to say we need to work on our system. We need to make Canada's economy balanced again. They need to make things better for students as well, because a lot is going on behind the scenes that we don't know. We think, yes, it might be harsh for international students, but it's a reason behind it. Okay, moving on. I think this is going to be the 4th point. Okay, so they said this cap does not apply to graduate students or doctorate students. So anybody who is looking to come for masters or PhD, you're open to come. The cap does not apply to you. You still stand a chance, with the normal method of how they used to do it before. So you're exempted from this, because these are the people that Canada is looking for. People with masters and PhDs and all of that. All those undergraduates will rest now. Just sit down, drinking malt quietly, okay? They'll probably get back to us after another 2 years. Now, another group of people that this does not apply to, it doesn't apply to elementary and secondary school students. If you're coming with your children who are in nursery or secondary school, it doesn't apply to them. So the next thing that they said is that the postgraduate work permit will not be available for private public institutions. So it just applies to schools that, let's say in a place like in BC or in Ontario, they have bigger institutions that work with smaller colleges. So these colleges are indebted to those bigger, to the bigger college, the bigger schools. If you go to those kind of schools, you will not have a postgraduate work permit there. So mind you, check the kind of school you want to apply and go to. Be careful. Now you have to be very, very, very attentive. It's not more everything is out there. Watch when you're looking for admission. Pay attention to the kind of program. Pay attention to what you're looking for. Okay, it's not just like in the day where any college now, hey, they have postgraduate work permit. Now it's changing. Now it has changed. It's not even changing. It has changed because they have said postgraduate work permits will not be granted to people who go to such schools. And the reason for this is because most of these schools that are private, public, they just merge with the bigger schools just to have international students. And you guys know that international students, our school fees is not cheap. If you go to which school, they are not cheap. So they're out to make money. They have been making money from it. And that's what the government of Canada is seeking to do. So they want to make sure, because all these private colleges, they are offering education. Some of the education is not quality education. In Canada wants to make sure that you're getting quality for what you're paying for, because we're not paying cheap. We're paying a lot of money. And you might end up, you find that their schools are not monitored, the education, nobody knows their system, so they want to put an eye on those things, or they want to just stop it. Anyways, in this case, I don't blame them, because you want people to be hardworking as well. You go to those schools, you end up and you see that somebody doesn't even know how to speak in good English, because they have just brought people to Canada as international students, and then you'll be working and they'll be paying you cheap money, small money, maybe $10 per $12 per hour, $13 per hour, and you're really, really struggling just because they know that you're going to work for them and their business is growing. And they also said that spousal open work permit is going to be granted only to masters and doctorate students. So if you're married, don't come for a diploma program or a certificate program. Come for a master's or a PhD program. Point blank, period. Let's not make those stupid mistakes and then start saying, if I knew. Don't do that. The last takeaway from this news that was released is that the cap does not apply to students who are already in Canada. If you're already in Canada, this doesn't apply to you. It's for people who fall under January 23rd. In fact, January 22nd, I think that's when it came out. That from that day, if your application was submitted that day, that's when it starts. Basically, at the end of the year, they're going to reassess this number of study permits that were issued in the year 2024, and they'll get back to us. Maybe they're going to say, oh, it's actually working for them, and they will probably reduce more. We don't know. Or they'll probably try to increase the number of study permits depending on how they see it. We don't know, but they are going to reassess. So because this announcement was made right, and the provinces had even had time to implement it yet, or also definitely need more time. So Miller also said that he has been talking about this thing with provinces like BC and Ontario, that they have already had conversations about it, and they're seeing reasons why, and they see reasons why they have why the minister has to reduce the number of international students in Canada. So it's actually going to be serious. And that reminds me, today as I speak to you, BC put out a notice saying that yes, they've decided to reduce the number of students in their school, in some of their colleges. I'll find the post and I'll put it on the screen, and you guys are going to see it. They actually brought it out today. That's why I'm like, you know what? It's high time I speak on this, because I'm the one who has been sitting here on this channel. I'm talking, international students come to Canada. So it doesn't make sense for me to sit quiet. I have to say something to you guys, right? So you can start considering other routes. Look up things. Look up other ways of coming to Canada. You must not only come as a student or as coming for school or anything. There are so many things, so many ways you can do something. Most people are self-employed. Canada needs people that are self-employed. Do your research. Go out there. Go on the Canada website. check. I cannot even shout enough. I cannot even say it. I don't know what to say again because I've been saying it so many times on this channel too. Yeah, so they see reasons why they need to reduce and work on this number, or reducing this number of students in the country, because these regions are, most people want to come to Canada. They are always talking Ontario and BC. Oh yeah, now they've come and said, yes, we agree. We need you to actually reduce this number because there are too many of them here. And that's what I'm always saying. Go to smaller places. If they want to even start giving out study permits, they'll give out more study permits to smaller places, smaller regions. And I feel like how they're going to make it even harder is that they'll probably tell you that if you go to these other places, make sure you don't leave. If you want to get your PR, you will not leave that area. You have to stay there until you get your permanent residency. Just to keep the population there growing. Do you understand? It makes sense that way. If not, everybody's flocking in Ontario. So many people. Meanwhile, other places are there. Guys, spread out. Go to those BC, New Brunswick, Saskatchewan, Nunavut. If you can go there, there's nothing wrong. People are too choosy. So this is why when I say come to Regina, or come to Saskatchewan, people be there looking at me. Now they're making it tighter now. If everybody was going to other places, they'll probably be like, oh, nice, it's okay, let them go, there's no problem, we need people in those areas. But now they say, oh yeah, I'll bring number down because what? Everybody's going to Ontario. That's where everybody is. So from this, one can even deduce that more of the quotas will be given to smaller provinces. In conclusion, I'll be able to bring this information to you, so take it and milk it. Do what you can with it. So with that said, you guys, thank you so much for watching this video, and I hope you're going to make wiser decisions that's going to work out for you and your family. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.